And here it is, the Flames of War Fury 2-player starter, a great way to get into the Flames of War wargaming system, as well as into historical wargaming at a very low cost. You get just enough components in here to get a flavor, a taste of what Flames of War is, and if you enjoy it, you can expand upon this experience. I'm going to turn this box around. In this box, you'll get 5 tanks. You'll get a Sherman 75mm, a Sherman 76mm, and an M10 tank killer. And then on the German side, you'll get a Tiger and a Stug. You'll also get an A5 size rulebook, how to play, some game cards, some dice, and some terrain that you can use as a way of just dipping your toes into this system. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up and we will see what's inside. For such a small box, you actually get quite a lot of stuff in here, and we'll go through it in more depth, but I think this is pretty much it. That's just bubble wrap. You get some gray and green dice for your game here. The quick start guide, A5 rulebook, and the cards, and we're going to go ahead and open this up in a little while. This is the start here pamphlet. As you can see, it shows you how to assemble your models, kind of gives you an idea of how to start your game, what the cards are, and what's on them, and everything else. So there you go. We also have terrain, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's 2D terrain. Ideally, you want to play a game like this with 3D terrain, but you know, this is again just an introductory starter for Flames of War, and it gives you something that you could just put on your kitchen table and give it a shot. Bread and butter here are the models that you get in this kit. So, as you can see, for such a small starter, you get quite a few sprues. I'm going to go ahead and move this stuff around, and we'll take a closer look at what they are. First off, these are your Tank Commander sprues, both US and German. I'll try to get a little bit closer here. This will allow you to have your Tank Commander peeking out of whatever tank it is you want, I guess, as your platoon leader. Next up is the sprue for the Stug. Now, I'm not as familiar with the Stug, but you do have a couple different hull options, different main gun options. Here's your Sherman tracks, which are very well detailed, and other stuff that you can put on your Stug. Just take a closer look at that. Flip it around. And then on this side. All right, next up is the big daddy of the set, the Tiger 1. So this is a pretty big sprue compared to all the other ones, but it doesn't seem to be a very complicated model to put together. You have your tracks, your hull, your the top of the tank, your turret, and all that fun stuff. So we'll take a closer look. For being a 15mm, 1/100th scale, these are quite detailed, which is quite impressive. I'll turn it around, especially these tracks. Look at that. So, all right, going on to the US side. I'm gonna just pull all this stuff out and see if I can identify these properly. You have 2 Sherman sprues here. We'll take a closer look. These should be quite identical, because you can build the 75mm, which is the standard Sherman, and then based on the starter, you have to build a 76mm. But that's not on this sprue, because you also get this sprue for the 76mm. There's the cannon, has a different main hull or top hull, and a different turret. So you'll take one of these sprues and this sprue, and you'll make your 76mm. And just take a closer look again. Let me get these out of the way. At the Sherman sprue. Again, very well detailed for 1/100th scale, 15 millimeter. All right. So next up, you have your Wolverine or your M10. I think you do have different options. I'm not really sure. I'm not familiar with my U.S. Tanks or anything like that. But you do have the option of like different turrets on here. We'll just take a closer look. Again, the tracks look phenomenal. Detail is great. But again, I mean, these sprues aren't very... it doesn't indicate a complicated model to put together. So that'll be kind of cool. All right. So moving on. We'll get to the bag of stuff here. All right, pull all this stuff out. So, get your unit cards. We'll go through that. Here's your A5 size rulebook. It's great because you have the full rulebook, kind of like the pocket size edition, easier to carry than the hardcover, and that actually brings a lot of value to this starter because the starter itself isn't that expensive. I think it retails for $35. You might be able to get it lower from some other online retailers, but again, it's a definite bonus to get a full rule book this size with your starter kit, especially since this is the basic starter kit for Flames of War. And then these are the quick start rules. So really, after you put all your models together, just follow this, and then you'll be able to at least start playing Flames of War. You know, it gives you information in each phase of the game. So let's take a closer look at the cards. That's a cool thing about Flames of War is that it is card based. Everything that you need, all the information that you need about your unit is going to be on this card. Okay, so here's a closer look at the unit cards. This is the Tiger. Again, all the information that you need for your unit, whether it's a tank, vehicle, or infantry, is going to be on one of these cards. So let me just bring the Tiger up here. Different prices for how many Tigers you want to field. Special rules. Okay, next up, and these are kind of sticking together because it's a glossy finish, is the Stug. Different weapons, so it depends on what you want to field. Platoon points, special rules. And to cap off the Germans, or the German cards, these are the movement orders that you can order your units to follow. Alright, next up, we have the M10 Tank Destroyer. It's different weapons, platoon cost, and special rules. Next up is the Sherman. This one's a 75 millimeter. Special rules, platoon costs, and then to round off everything else unit wise is the Sherman 76 millimeter. And to round off the unit cards, here's the 76 millimeter Sherman. Platoon cost, special rules. Alright, lastly, here are the movement orders for the Americans. Alright. And there you have it, the Flames of War Fury 2-player starter, a great entry point into Flames of War and into World War II and historical wargaming to give you just enough to get your feet wet, and we'll give you a good example of what it is like to play Flames of War. Should you continue, you might want to upgrade to the Hit the Beach 2-player starter, which has a lot more. It has the infantry, it has the the tanks and artillery that make a more full-fledged Flames of War experience. But for somebody who's been sitting on the fence, this is a great way to get into the game. Again, you get the 5 tanks here, 2 Germans, 3 Americans. You have everything that you need to get started. And yeah, that's it. Alright, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more unboxing videos from Wargaming Noob Historical.